I think it's very important that we get this kind of over the functional boundaries approach, where you put people together in a cluster or a team to solve a specific problem. For example, to design the processes needed to fulfill a certain need we have identified on the perceived customer side. And to work in that case, because we have been talking process orientation, process management for years now.
It's not enough on its own.
Nothing much has happened in real life.
No.
Because you think that should change the whole world, and you do it that way instead. But what you have to do is to work with temporary type of teams to solve the problems we have right in front of us right now.
Yes.
That putting people with different types of knowledge, different types of talent together to solve the problem, to be creative in that moment. And that's the new way of looking at it.
It is, and you know, the interesting thing is that some companies are doing it. There's a very fine company in Asia called Lian Fung. It's a trading company. It's they call themselves supply chain orchestrators. They don't own a lot of assets, but what they do is they have big retail clients like Neiman Marks and Spencer's, or you know, maybe even Walmart, and they take their orders, and then they look back into the source markets like China, and they don't own any factories, but they own the relationships and everything. And what Lian Fung have done so successfully is, and I think they've gone too far, is each time they add a major new client that wants them to do things, they then put together a cluster of 50 to 60 people. That's the magic number, 50 to 60 people. And those 50 to 60 are all disciplines: logistics, marketing, sales, quality assurance, the whole lot. And they are tied together with a joint KPI. And the joint KPI, particularly for customers that we want to retain, is retention. That's the key thing. We must retain that customer. These are not customers that come and go. The other KPI is what's the percentage share of wallet that we have? Is it 30% of their spend? And do we want to make it 50? And they stick together. Now, the only problem with Lian Fung is they've gone too far. They've got 300 customers, and they've got 300 clusters. They're like little, it was explained to me by Victor Fung, he calls them his little John Waynes, or his tribes. Now, the problems now is that as these tribes look out into the supply market and to try and fulfill and manufacture on behalf of this client, they are now starting to compete for capacity in the supply market. And my advice is really to concertina those clients out the front end into a smaller number of segments, and maybe make the clusters a bit bigger, but try and take away some of the tension that way. But it is all around this idea of mixing and matching disciplines and mindset, and having people go in and out of the verticals, because we'll never get rid of vertical specialties. They have to be there. We need people who understand production, understand logistics as a science. But the trouble with that is that the better you get at that, the less good you are at the horizontal customer